thank you for joining us this evening. It's really great to see so many friends and family come together to celebrate my mom's life. We plan to have a short ceremony that will include some songs, some music, a little poetry, and a few words of reflection and remembrance. And since my mom always loved a good gathering of friends and family, especially out by the lake, of course, it always had to be outside right by the water when we ate dinner when we came up here. So hoping you can all stay around after the ceremony to enjoy dinner and some drinks, and we'll have a little party in my mom's honor. So, yeah, thanks again for coming out and making this evening so special. You know, seeing everybody here is really incredible. So, and thanks to each of you for being in part of my mom's life. She truly treasured all of your friendships. So, thank you.
Shadows are falling, just run out of breath. Keep me in your heart for a while. If I leave you, it doesn't mean I love you any less. Keep me in your heart for a while. When you get up in the morning and you see the crazy sun, maybe you'll think of me and smile. There's a train leaving nightly call when all is said and done. Keep me in your heart for a while. Sha-la-la-la-la. Keep me in your heart for a Sometimes when you're doing little things around the house, maybe you'll think of me and smile. You know I'm tied to you like the buttons on your blouse. Keep me in your heart for a while. Hold me in your thoughts, take me to your dreams. Touch me as I fall
Good evening. Here we are, living another day in paradise. A day like so many others that we have grown to love. Yes, Lake George is a paradise on earth. Not just for its natural beauty, but also for its beauty because of her people. People who love this place, who are dedicated to its preservation, people who are self-sacrificing and giving, considerate of their neighbors, quick to help. People who rise in the morning with cheery hellos and who rest in the evening recalling the day's activities with friends and contemplating tomorrow's agenda. In general, the people I mentioned are personified by our beloved Suzy. So today is not just another after-the-race party for the stalwart inland cat sailors, nor is it a Cope Con Association meeting, nor a Cottage Owners Association meeting, and for that matter, not a Lake George Conservancy meeting, or a book club or garden club gathering, but a time when we honor and pay tribute to Suzy. Suzy would have been seen at any or all of these meetings, not only to contribute her time and her multiple talents, but also to be that warm-spirited, genuine, friendly, and welcoming person to the newcomers, and that wonderful true friend that people would gravitate to and always enjoy seeing again and again. Why? Because it is Suzy's nature to be warm, genuine, and cheery, loving, and caring. She wasn't one to tell you all about herself, but she wanted to know about you, who you are, how your family is, where you have traveled to lately, where you're going, what your plans are. Eventually, the conversation would move to what is going on in the lives of her beloved families, J.R., Maureen, and granddaughters Olivia and Marielle, Bob and Carrie, and grandsons Rob and John. And as time may have permitted, it may have included where she had been, on a wonderful trip to England with her Colorado friend Marilyn, or many times to far-off exotic places for her friend's daughter's destination wedding celebrations. That was Suzy, living life to the fullest. Always excited for new places to go, new things to experience, new activities. Always contributing to the fun spirit of adventure with laughter and good humor. She lived in the spirit of enjoying life. She was always thoughtful, always giving. She gave much and took little. Suzy was a model for us to live in the fullness of each day, not to waste or squander opportunities to participate in life itself, not just observe it. Suzy was the consummate planner. She planned her daily activities, and often ours. Her calendar was full. She would frequently have to take a rain check for dinner. She rarely had an open date. Suzy had an energetic nature to conscript us into an activity. She would get us into another day trip adventure when we would have been content to just let idle days go by. With Suzy, you might venture out to see some beautiful gardens somewhere, or to go on a home tour or a garden show, or to try a new little out-of-the-way place for lunch, or to go to an outdoor market to buy tomatillos, peppers, or chilies for one of her famous southwestern delights. Suzy could talk you into seeing the latest critically acclaimed movie, or go to the Tibbetts Theater to see friends Jack and Nancy on the stage. She was always trying out a new dessert on us, recipes with sometimes not so willing judges. They might include these people and others, and excuse me if I forget anybody, but Marie, Kirsten, Jill, Jackie, Sharon, Mary Jane, Dorothy, Michelle, Judy, Renata, Julie, Faye, Liz, and countless others, including myself. And if she could pass the test with all of them, she might have a keeper, or whomever would stop for a nice tea at the house and a helping of hospitality in the always welcoming kitchen right here at 375 Cope Con Point. Suzy so loved life, the beauty of nature around her, but moreover the beauty of each person that she met. She saw light in each one of us, not our darkness. She saw the goodness and strength in us, not our weaknesses and our failings. She was forgiving. She never held a grudge. She didn't judge us, casting us off if we were of different political or religious persuasions. She could engage in meaningful conversations and become engaged in spirited discussions, but always in the spirit of seeking truth and understanding, not debates culminating in a deadlock of emotional conflict. Suzy loved people. Her specialty in public education was diversity, and her professional life was in true accord with her personal one. Her friends were from the depth and breadth of all people. Her friends were of all sizes, shapes, colors, races, creeds, and religions, or of no religion, of diverse social and economic backgrounds and status. She was never, ever exclusionary. And that is what is so remarkable about Suzy. From her, we learned about tolerance, we learned about acceptance, and non-judgmentality. She was a model of true friendship, and in living each day, she not only spread the sunshine and love, but was the recipient of such as well. My, does Suzy have friends, true friends, and friends that will always be. I would like to say that Suzy was the universal friend. She was a friend to all and a friend of all. She was universally loving and universally loved. Dear folks, these are not just lofty words and high platitudes I say today. These are really essential truths. I would always like to tell Suzy, as I did for years, everybody doesn't like somebody, but nobody doesn't like Suzy. I never heard anyone ever say that they didn't like Suzy. I don't know too many people that you can say that of, especially one who has made thousands of friends over her lifetime. So today, as we honor her memory, we find joy in all these wonderful times that we shared with her. Suzy's presence is with us today. Her spirit is in our hearts, and it always will be. Our memories are precious, priceless, and they're permanent, as is her presence in our lives. Suzy's physical life so graced this beautiful place at Lake George as it did in Denver and Bailey, Colorado. Her spiritual life continues to make a difference, to have that spirit of happiness, warmth, caring, friendship, and love. While she has physically passed, she has an eternal presence in our lives and those who she knew and loved. Her spirit never dies in us. Though Suzy was not a person of deep religious conviction, she was a person of deep spiritual conviction, a conviction of peoples of all faiths, that is to be loving, to love thy neighbor. Suzy was certainly one who lived that every day. So, dear friends, let us pay tribute to that teacher par excellence, that diversity teacher who helps us to be accepting, non-judgmental, kind, and loving. Thank you, dear one Suzy, for what you have taught us and modeled for us as a way of happy, joyful, and successful living. Let us now hear these words from Henry Van Dyke's poem, Immortality. I am standing upon the seashore, a ship at my side spreads her white sails to the morning breeze, and starts for the blue ocean. She is an object of beauty and strength, and I stand and watch until at last she hangs like a speck of white cloud just where the sun and the sky come down to mingle with each other. Then someone at my side says, "There she goes." Gone where? Gone from my sight, that is all. She is just as large in mast and hull and spar as she was when she left my side, and just as able to bear her load of living freight to the places of destination. Her diminished size is in me, not in her. And just at the moment when someone at my side says, "There she goes," there are other eyes watching her coming, and other voices ready to take up the glad shout, "Here she comes." And in these words of Scripture, Suzy, may the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord make his face to shine upon you and be gracious unto you. May the Lord lift up his countenance upon you and give you peace. Eternal rest grant unto Suzy, O Lord, and let perpetual light shine upon her. Amen.
My grandma inspired me to write this poem called "The Tree." It started as a seed which sprouted still so small. As the time was passing, it was growing big and tall. The seasons would change from winter, spring, summer, and fall. Leaves would gently tumble down, leaving the tree bare. Yet then it would grow blossoms, turning into leaves again. But then one spring the branches stayed so quiet, no more leaves or flowers, the world seemed so still. It used to grow so big and tall, but now its job is done.
Thank you again for being here and sharing this evening with our family. I'm going to offer some words and stories about my mother. After I'm finished, if anybody would like to come up and say something brief, you're welcome to do that. I'm not sure after what my uncle's done or what after I say you'll need to do that, but if you want to do that, this is the time. I want to talk to you about the place you are sitting, the place we are gathering. 90 years ago, Sid Wing, the owner of Copecon Farms, which consisted of the length of the existing shoreline, the woods behind, the fields and farmland stretching away, planted a sign in the bank facing the lake. It said, "Lots for sale. See owner, S.L. Wing." The very next day, early in the morning, my great-grandfather, Virgil Bolyard, who had no doubt seen the sign while fishing the previous evening, came knocking on Sid's door, and he bought the lot where the yellow cottage now stands. The cottage was completed in 1924, and nearly 90 summers have passed since. My mother would have been spending her 68th summer here. A second place I want to talk to you about is a place 1,150 miles away. My mother's house, nestled in the Rocky Mountains outside of Bailey, Colorado. Picture my mother during the days before her departure east to where we are. She would be completing her plans and ticking off her lists. Lunch with friends, done. Boxes of keepsake photos and cherished artwork delivered to friends in Denver, just in case a summer forest fire came sweeping through the valley, done. Key to the cabin tucked under the flower pot so her neighbor Diane could water the plants, done. Cars, oil changed and tires full, done. Car packed with all of her summer things, done. Alarm clock set for 4 a.m., done. Everything ready to go, ready for the journey to the lake. She would wake up, jump into the car, and drive. For many years, it was a solo, 18-hour, single-day, iced tea-fueled pilgrimage. Her sole mission, to get there. Across Nebraska, through Iowa, over the Mississippi River, up through the corner of Illinois, to the top of Indiana, and finally off the toll road and across the state line into Michigan. The arrival is always the same. Whether it was when I was 6, tucked into the back seat of the car, piled full with my brother, our dog Scooter, blankets, and pillows, or if it was just my mom, by herself, which it often was. The turn off Old 27 onto Copecon Point, the long straightaway to the bridge, the sweeping S-turn into the orchard, along the channel, to the tennis court. Time to slow down, to the corner, with the hard right past the Kershaw Garden, then the dip into the driveway, and the crunch of the gravel, the sound always the same, the landing. You are here. Now my mom could settle into life at the lake. The news of the day taking a back seat to her news, what was going on with her friends, their kids, also her kids and her family. The summer days revolved around friends, fun, and food. The planning for the next meal, always a priority. My mom asking, "What are we going to have for lunch?" And then, "What are we going to have for dinner?" With a meal comes cooking, and with cooking, when it came to my mother, there was always a recipe. One summer, there was this craze. I'll call it the pizza craze, where my mom, my Aunt Liz, and maybe all of Lake George was swept up into an enthusiastic wave of pizza creation. Now, when I say pizza, I mean things called pizza, not the typical tomato sauce and cheese covered dough, but rather fruit pizza, spaghetti pizza, taco pizza, every dish you can think of turned into pizza. And my mom needed the recipe. "Can you give me the recipe?" she would say. As a smart kid who definitely knew more than his mother, I'd think and say, "Mom, it's simple. What do you need the recipe for? Can't you figure it out?" Take the fruit pizza, for example. It was a layer of sugar cookies cut out and pressed together like a big blobbish snowman with a cream cheese layer, some powdered sugar mixed in, topped with fresh fruit. Pretty simple, right? But not if you ask my mom. You couldn't do it without the recipe. The ink scrawled out in her perfect cursive writing, or somebody else's scratching, etched out on the back of a 3x5 recipe card. To her, you needed the recipe so you didn't forget things, the little things, the important things. For example, Liz's recipe for fruit pizza had 2 twists of lemon in the cream cheese, and the blueberries had to be hand patted dry and placed right next to the peaches. That was the recipe. So what the recipes did for her was, well, they made her pay attention and enabled her to reach out to another person and ask them, "How did you do that?" There was more to it than simply understanding how to construct a pizza made from fruit. It was a way for her to let them know that she thought it was special, that they were special. She would be saying, "I want to honor you by trying it too." And so it was with all the other recipes tucked into overflowing little wooden boxes and decaying spiral binders of the compilation fundraising cookbooks that she simply couldn't turn down. They contained your recipes, and my mom had to have them. She loved them all. That takes us back to my great-grandfather. As he was rowing by in his boat, did he plan before he went knocking on Sid's door to buy the lot, or did he just know and react? What really matters is what changes between the day we are born and the day we die. The decisions and plans that we make define those days. So it was with my mother, and so it will be for me, and also for you. My mom seemed to know this. She thought of others first. She was impressed by everybody. So maybe she left us a recipe. When you take a sip of coffee and enjoy the morning light, think of Suzy. Turn yourself towards the day ahead and move forward with strength, respecting and cherishing others and the time that you have. Be thankful and appreciative of those around you. Relish the view. The world is a beautiful place. Open your eyes. When you hold a child's hand or read them your favorite book, remember they are important, wise, and deserving of all the attention and love that you can give them. Later and lastly, settle into the night and sleep peacefully and plan for another day. If anybody else would like to express something that hasn't been said, come forward. Otherwise, we'll finish up and begin the party. You guys want to come up? Very good. Thank you all.